One of the most misunderstood things about Auto-Brewery Syndrome is how it can create an obsession with alcohol. People hear that and think, well, just don't drink. But that's not how addiction works. And it's definitely not how ABS works. I've been living with Auto-Brewery Syndrome since 2019. ABS causes microorganisms in the gut to ferment carbohydrates into ethanol, the same alcohol found in beer, wine, and liquor. And when your body is producing alcohol day after day, month after month, and sometimes even year after year, your brain and nervous system begin adapting to it. Your body actually gets used to the alcohol, and in some people, it can become physically dependent on its presence. When alcohol levels drop, you can feel weak, shaky, anxious, sick. You don't feel better when the alcohol is gone. You actually feel worse. And that's where the danger actually begins, because your body can become so physiologically dependent upon it that removing alcohol entirely can actually be dangerous to your health. That's why for someone with a toxic level of alcohol, medical supervision is so important as they are detoxing. But addiction isn't just physical dependence. There's also a mental component, the obsession. The voice that keeps returning to alcohol as the solution. The belief that somehow the next drink will fix what you're feeling. And for many people, there's a spiritual component as well. A deeper brokenness, loneliness, fear, or emptiness that recovery has to address. Some people with ABS can produce extremely high blood alcohol levels. And when the body has adapted to alcohol for long periods of time, suddenly removing it can actually be physically dangerous. Withdrawal can cause seizures, hallucinations, and even fatal arrhythmias. As a pastor, I've seen many Christians treat addiction as though it's simply a sin problem. They tell people to pray harder, have more faith, trust God more. But many people with addiction have prayed. Many have begged God to take it away. And the addiction remained. Why? Because addiction is not merely a spiritual problem, and it's not merely a medical problem. It's physical, mental, and spiritual. And recovery often requires all of those dimensions to be addressed together. Medical care, counseling, family support, recovery groups like AA, and a relationship with God that walks with us through recovery instead of condemning us for struggling. The truth is, once addiction is established, the question becomes less about how it started and more about how we recover. If you know someone battling addiction, remember, you may be looking at a behavior, but underneath that behavior may be a medical condition, a mental obsession, trauma, a spiritual struggle, or a battle that you simply cannot see. And that's why addiction deserves compassion, not judgment.